Listen, what I thought we'd do is just start from the beginning,
Sure.
plot some waypoints on here, and just tell us where to go, and we'll take notes. And what you'll see as we go, I'll just keep adding waypoints. So
Okay.
I erased the route that I had just so we could build it from scratch. But you'll see I got a bunch of waypoints in here. So I'm thinking I'm doing good so far. I made it past the green buoy here.
Mhm.
Fantastic.
And is there anything special about going out this pass here, or?
No, I just got a note that said connect your iPhone or iPad. When prompted, what do I do? Oh, there it disappeared now. The first pass is kind of critical. Egmont Key. You see the tip of Egmont Key?
Yeah.
The eastern tip, where it says breakwater, marker 18, and then there's marker 15.
Well, we're not going to go out that way, are we?
I like going out that way because it gets you right across the bay fast, and there's a lot of water. The problem is, once you get to Egmont Key, you have to parallel that shore north and south because there's a big old sandbar there, and you do not want to run into trouble there.
Well, why wouldn't you go out this other pass where I'm pointing to?
Okay, where is it? Where are you pointing to?
Well, just see where my waypoint 1 is here. It's just south of between.
The yellow WP0001.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine too if it's blowing nicely. But you notice that 3-foot section out there?
Where?
Okay, look down. See waypoint 2 just to the right. It's 3 feet.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll stay north of that.
Okay, well then you won't have any trouble with that at all.
All right. So watch how easy this is.
So we keep getting this. Get your iPhone to the computer. Should we just say trust it or make it go away? It won't go away.
Yeah, it's on mine too. I don't know why this is doing it. That's for me. That's on my end. Sorry, guys. I don't know why it's doing that. There, it goes away.
There it is.
Okay.
No, you can do that. That's fine. But I'll tell you what. Chart both of them.
Okay.
Because and that sandbar. See waypoint 1. You see that sandbar down there? That is formidable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where the catamaran that had won the Everglades Challenge 2 or 3 times dropped a rudder, broke it right off, and we were only an hour into the start. They were flying. They were doing over 20 miles an hour when they hit that sucker.
So let's say we come out this way, and I see there's a green number 1 buoy here, and then there's, what is this one? That says 1.
Waypoint 2 is fine.
Yeah, and then do I need to come all the way out to this green buoy here? Or
I think that it looks to me like you're going quite a ways further out than you have to. Because if you see waypoint 3, if you go directly to the right, you'll see there's a sandbar in there.
Yeah.
Once you're out that far, you can cut that sandbar. I mean, you're going way out into the Gulf. That's a considerable distance.
Okay, well, that's why we're having this conversation. More like that, huh?
I don't know. I got this iPad thing again.
Why is it doing that? Come on.
Maybe because it's an iPhone. Well, I don't know.
It won't let me trust it. Hang on a second.
Okay,
Maybe
well, there it went away.
It goes away.
Yeah, but.
Whoops! Everything went away.
Yeah, that was me.
Okay.
Hang on. Okay.
Now, here's the other reason to not go out there and to stay in by the islands. You sometimes get really fluky winds in there. But
okay.
But plot both of those, because sometimes you have to take a direct bearing from the start beach down to the point at Anna Maria
Yeah.
That's what I've always heard is people go out Anna Maria.
Yeah, right. And that saves you going out. It's fairly safe, and you miss that obstruction. You go to waypoint 2 and that island, that sand island, there's a lot of crap out there. And last year I was looking at waves. It looked like a bunch of fish in a school were crashing each other, you know, when dolphins strike.
Yeah.
And I looked at it, looked like a bunch of power, like an unlimited powerboat race. I could see the wakes and the big waves. They were pointy like dragon's teeth and stuff. And it was just the water hitting the shoals out there with small craft warnings. So there's some crap out there I really don't like. You're going to miss it. You're going to miss it. With
your suggestion then is do Anna Maria.
Yeah, my suggestion is go both ways. because you're saying waypoint 1 is good, waypoint 2 is fine, waypoint 3 is great. You might even move waypoint 3 in a little bit, but where you've got them now is going to be perfectly safe, and you've got a fast boat. Now, I would also plot it from waypoint 1 down to the tip of Anna Maria Island, or maybe from the beach, from the start beach to the tip of Anna Maria Island, missing that sandbar on the west of it, of the course. And then when you get into that, you're going to have probably a few boats ahead of you, because those guys are fast. And if you're near them, you can follow them out the channel. But the real tough part, look at waypoint 3 and head just a little bit east and north to Anna Maria Island. See, that's 7 feet. There's a 3-foot section in there.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, that's probably where I saw all of that. That's where I saw all of that water. So mark that. Stay the hell away from.
Yeah.
However,
stay the hell away from.
Yeah.
You want to stay, but if you look from that shallow area, 3 feet, it's 7 feet and 11 feet and 5 feet inside, and it's no problem.
Yeah.
And yet there's another spot further down. It's like 3 feet. Another reason is if they have a hold, like a small craft warning, and you have to hold, you're going to get out of there late, and you're going to be hitting stump pass maybe in the dark. But all along Anna Maria Island, it's 4. You see 4, 8. Okay, look at waypoint 3. Go straight across to the island.
Yeah.
You can stay off the island maybe a few blocks, and it's all fairly deep water. See how it gets deeper as it goes down?
So do you recommend that? Staying?
Oh yeah, because if they launch late, the wind, you have a shore breeze in there. And I launched at 11 o'clock, and it took me an hour and a half to get across. And then I picked up the shore breeze, and it kept getting stronger and stronger and stronger all the way past Sarasota, and it kept building all the way past Venice Inlet. So even with the
what I've heard is that going down Anna Maria Island and elsewhere, staying close is very likely a better wind than out where there's no convection at all.
Right. Don Quixote and I probably ran as far as 10 miles outside because we thought it was blowing really good and we thought it would hold. We were doing 0.4 miles an hour and everybody went by us.
No wind.
Still no wind. And it was the worst I've ever seen it. You want to stay in that channel within maybe 4 blocks of Anna Maria all the way down. Now you'll notice as you're going that parts of the coast stick out a little bit more once you get, waypoint 9 down in there. Yeah, you want to be outside that a little bit. But that looks real good. Nothing wrong with waypoint. I would even cut it closer to the island because you're going to pick up more wind within 4 blocks of the beaches. And you can always go up there. There's no reason. The shallow water, and also there's waves in there because it's shoals, and those waves are going to give your boat a big push. It'll pick you up. We were surfing 500 to 600 feet on a G-Cat out there. We would go down a wave, and we'd go over the top of it, and then we would go down the other side, and we would catch. The wave would pick us up, and we'd catch the wave ahead of us, and then go ahead. It was great. Best sailing I ever saw.
And that's not going to happen if you're offshore, right?
No,
as much.
It can, but it's more consistent, fairly close to shore with it. I wouldn't go more than a mile offshore max.
Oh, well, I'm right up
Interesting.
on right now.
Interesting. A mile off the beach. All right.
No, a mile off the beach is way too far in my estimation. Now, here's the other thing. If anything breaks, it's real easy to get to the beach. It's all sand. You can go right up on the beach and get a cheeseburger there. On Anna Maria, and you should be close enough. You should be close enough to see the girls in their 2-piece suits.
Okay,
that sounds good.
And look further down. See it's all 11 feet, 5 feet, 4 feet, 10 feet. There should be an obstruction out there. You're down to waypoint
12.
Keep going down. Okay, and then you're going to get. Is that Venice Inlet down there?
No,
St. Armand's Key. Okay, down at St. Armand's Key, go a little bit further from New Pass and St. Armand's Key. There, the land sticks out there, so you might take a draw what do they call that? Take a bearing at that point and then bear off of it, so that you're out when you get there.
Okay, you're talking about this point here.
Yeah, I got this thing on the computer again with the
Oh
iPad.
gosh, you guys, I'm not looking at that screen, so just
Yeah, waypoint. Yeah,
It's on.
waypoint 13. You take a shot at that point, and then you don't have to screw around with that shallow water. And there's markers out there, but you can get fairly close. I mean, it's not that far away, but you can see the waters. It shoals real fast around that point. That's one point. Waypoint 14. Stay outside that, just a hair. Okay, looking good so far.
Okay.
Plus, you got tons of stuff coming in and out of there, which might move your. Nah, well, you move fast enough to avoid that. Okay,
Right.
blind pass. Blind pass is where I broke my tiller last year. The midnight pass, that's closed. You can't get in there. But all of that beach, you could run into that beach if you had to with no problem. It's mostly sand.
Okay. Move this one out just a hair.
Now you see where you're outside that point. Okay, waypoint 14.
Yeah.
If there's good wind, it'll be steady out there and you'll really be moving. You can pretty much take that waypoint 15 and take it all the way down the coast if you got good wind. And aim for keep going. And that'll save you a little bit of time because it's a straight shot. You won't have to angle in. If you're having problems with small craft warnings and really rotten situation, you can run in toward the beach all the way down.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, I had waypoint 31 down here at.
Now you do if you've got problems and things are going to hell and you reef down and you want to have it easy, you go in at Venice Inlet, and you call every one of those crappy bridges on Channel 9, I believe.
Where's Venice Inlet?
It's let me see. Bring up the map again. Go back up north. A little more, right there. See where it says
Right here, right in the middle now.
Right there. Yeah, there's a big T.
Okay.
And then you're in close quarters combat. You can
Oh God, I don't want to go on that.
see the bridges. There's probably maybe 6 of them.
Yeah.
I know, but sometimes you have to. So you got to be prepared for it.
Okay.
It sucks.
Well, I'll plot inside too.
Yeah.
Okay, from 15.
It's basically a big ditch.
From 15 to 16, that looks good. Get in as close as I can, basically.
The coast to Stump Pass. Now, if Stump Pass is really acting up and you're worried about it or you can't sail in, you'd have to go past Stump Pass and go in Gasparilla. Like if the wind was out of the south.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And come back up.
Yeah, because I don't think you're going to be able to get in on a southerly wind very well. Because those channels, once you're inside Stump Pass, are really, really bad.
Can you? So here's my thinking: if you could get in, say the wind is just angle enough that you could get in, we're looking at possibly paddling, rowing, and cycle pedaling those pedal power H2 ProPed.
If it's anywhere except from the southwest or the southeast or south, you probably won't have any problem with your boat. You'll have a problem. You might have a little bit of problem getting down some of the channels, but if you can paddle or pedal either way, as long as you can move a little bit. There's a couple of tricks once you get. Is that Stump? Okay, that's
Stump.
Yeah,
Stump Pass right there. Okay, you see those green markers out there? Zoom in. It looks like Stump Pass from where I'm looking, and it will stump your ass if you're not careful.
Yeah.
Okay, Stump Pass. There is a channel right next to Stump Pass Beach State Park.
Yeah.
And I've gone
which
through.
is on the south side.
Yeah, right.
Is that on?
Okay, see marker number 5? If you go from marker number 5 up into Stump Pass and then just run a line up, see it says 6 feet in there, but there's a swash channel just offshore about 50 feet off. And I could sail my Goose. I sailed the Hobie AI in there, and we sailed the Lightning directly across that big sand pass, just to the left where the sign says Stump Pass.
Mm-hmm.
Don Quixote sailed right across there, barely a ripple. He tacked all the way up the channel in Stump Pass. You look, as soon as you get around Stump.
Oh, we lost you again. Painen, you there? I think we lost your audio, man.
We usually take that thing again.
Okay, you're going to have to repeat. We lost your audio, buddy.
Yeah, you
Okay.
dropped out for a second.
Yeah. If the wind is out of the if the wind is out of the southeast, you'll be going right into Stump Pass. The safest way is to take it down to marker 3 and marker 4 and enter the pass and stay to the right, green on your left, red
Yeah.
right returning. And in that case, your safest, I don't know, how much do you draw with your rudder down?
My rudder down, 3+ feet.
Yeah, but you're thinking about putting a shallow rudder on it. So what will you draw then? 18?
Hopefully.
Okay. Well, okay. Well, the way you've got it now with waypoint 32, that's fine. And then you just go over and follow the marks all the way down. That's the safest way to go.
Can we
But
cut?
before you leave this section, the outside, go back to the outside. So my understanding was the waypoint 31
is the safest way.
You're gonna have to come in considerably to the beach sometimes and skirt to the north, past on the inside, past some sort of little a washed sandbar that exists offshore. And toward
your waypoint 31. Your waypoint 31 looks like it's quite a ways out from where it needs to be. It could be closer up to that first green mark. Can you kind of wiggle out?
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you cut, and sometimes
you'll be good there. You'll see a lot of breakers and you might have a lot of waves, but with two of you guys that know what you're doing, you can cut. I cut inside that marker with a G-cat and I damn near capsized right there. Wind was really hauling, and then I ran aground 4 times on the right side of that channel. So the wind was blowing from
the left side.
Yeah. Okay. The left side is easy. You're probably not going to get there unless the wind's out of the south. But the right side is shallow, and if you get on the right side, that is a real bear. You may have to drag the boat all the way down. It's good walking. That's all I can say. How do I know that? And I came down that swash channel where that little muddy thing is on the left-hand side. Yeah. And there were a couple guys in trouble right up near that green mark. They came down the Swash Channel too, and they ran aground on the right side of Stump Pass. And like a dummy, I went over to see if I could help them. Don't do that. That's a trap. Let them figure it out and walk it out themselves. You won't get out of there easily.
Now, where are you talking about exactly? Okay.
See where the P is in Stump Pass?
Yes, the P.
Okay, that means for Pinhead. If you go in there, you ain't getting out. Shallow. So once you get around that point of the state park, Stump Pass State Park, you want to stay on the left-hand side where it's deep. Everything on the right is bad news.
Okay.
Now, I get that iPad thing up again.
Yeah, it'll go away.
Okay, we'll wait. Okay, now you see there's a channel in there that says okay, no, so you've got all your marks up to the main channel.
Well, just hold on. Let's see if Peter needs to make
all that down the main channel and try not to hit anything. Yeah.
Let's just see if Peter needs to make a note on P for Pinhead.
That's what I was gonna do. That's what I was gonna do here. So the note is stay left, right?
Stay left away from P for Pinhead. Or S for shit.
That's a technical term, I assume. I love it.
All right.
By the time you said that, it's too late.
All right, stay left.
You ought to see what it looks like in the dark. I ran aground on a sandbar, and I ran aground on the same sandbar 4 times. We were aground with the sails up, swearing like banshees. Don Quixote was coming out with Micro Tom, and he heard us, and he saw our sails up, and he knew we were about to hit him. So he turned, and he hit the mark. Mark 8, I believe it was. And before he got off the mark, 2 other boats ran into him. It was so dark, nobody saw anything except my sails. Only because I was loud. It's dark out there, and you're not going to have a moon on this. Wait a minute. I won't have a moon this year. Next year, yeah, hopefully we got a moon. If you've got a moon, you can see all of this stuff. It's beautiful.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Now, the distance across that thing, surely a spot would pick up something.
Wait a minute. What do you mean?
A spotlight would pick up.
Yeah, it will. You can see those markers a long way off. And that's why having two guys on the boat is an advantage, because you get one guy standing up in the bow saying, little to the right, little to the right. Now, you got to remember, these channels are only going to give you 10 feet, one side or the other, 5 feet sometimes. I mean, you may indeed run aground. Your rudders are going to be, your rudder's going to pop up. That's why you need a really, you said your rudder was strong. It's going to be popping up.
Yeah. Very good.
Okay, can I cut from 32 to 33?
32 to 33. You kind of got to. You'll have to look at the marks out there. Basically, I see 4 feet. I see 3 feet. So going the way you're going, you've got. I've never gone that way. I always cut right around that island, where it says, where it says stay left.
Yeah.
See, it says 7 feet, and then it goes out to 9 feet, and then it goes to 1 feet. We always drag our rudder across that 1 foot section. I don't think you want to do that with your draft.
Okay.
No thanks. No thanks. I couldn't.
In an emergency, you could, and you could jump off and pull it through the mud, maybe.
So we'll go this way.
So my draft with Peter and I aboard and our gear is going to be about 18 inches.
Yeah, that's too deep. Yeah,
it is too deep.
I would leave it where we got it now. That's the safest way for you to go, and you'll probably have a lot less problems. You could make it. My boat draws like 3 feet. And we were bumping rudders up when we ran aground 3 times after we went around that corner.
That's only going to take us maybe 5 or 10 more minutes to go around that little island.
Yeah, hopefully the wind is. Yeah.
So,
and if it's high tide, you would have enough to take that short corner.
Yeah.
You can check the tide out. Well, okay, but yeah, the best way is to cut that corner right around that Thornton Key. And then stay in the middle, and then cut between the 2 islands, kind of. But I ran aground there. My dagger board ran aground in a Hobie Adventure Island, and I had to back the boat out and tip it up on its side to get the doggone board out, because I didn't have a retractable type board. It was it's a vertical one. That was no fun.
Now, what boat is that does not have a retractable board?
That's a 2012 Adventure Island. Later on, they changed it so you just push the board forward and it retracts fully into the hull. Now, I can sail that. I can sail that boat in 3 inches of water now. But if the board is down and you jam it into the mud, you have to back out and pick it up and try to squeeze it out, because it jams it in the hole.
Hey, Painen. Hey, Painen, I got a funny story for you, man, from last year's Texas 200. So these guys had one of those, what was it, Eric? It was like a Catalina, and they had one of those keels, you know what I'm talking about? A shallow T keel. So they ran that thing into a shell reef. And they were stuck there for a day. They were trying to pull it forward, pull it.
Oh my gosh.
And they finally got a hold of a towing guy, and he comes out there and he goes, "Have you guys tried to push it backwards?"
Oh no.
And they did, and it came right off.
Yeah. Oh gosh. No, that was a wing keel model, right?
Yeah, the wing keel. That's the term I was looking at.
So
I sailed with Ray Whitney, and Ray he threatened to shoot me if we didn't go exactly as per his directions. And then after Peter and I ran over Ayers dugout reef, I know why Ray didn't want to go in there. We would have sunk Merlin.
Yeah.
There's nothing to do, but Ray's got
that Catalina wing keel story is literally lesson learned. You cannot believe someone wouldn't think of that,
You're right. Right. All right, so now we're just heading down the channel to checkpoint 1. That's pretty going.
Okay, now here's the deal. You're getting down there. This is critical. You have to go in and check in there. Your spot has to read in the harbor. So you want to get to the dock on the left side, and that's close enough. You don't have to go all the way in.
Yeah, that's why we're. Whoa, sorry about that.
So I gotta understand what you just said. The dock on the left side is close enough. Where is that dock?
Check with Chief. Now they don't. Now you may not have to stop at Cape Hayes. There's a beach. If you can bring it in under navionics, maybe we get a little better detail.
Yeah, hang on.
Yeah, so we lost you for. So while he's doing that, we lost you for just a sec. Painen. And when we talked to Zolich, Mark, he tells us that he pulled in at that beach there about where the red marker is.
Yeah.
And it docked him 5 hours.
Okay. Okay. Hold it right there. You see where it says go up just a little bit. You got to turn before that.
Okay.
Those black poles and pilings up there, you got to be turning up in there.
Yeah, I figured.
If you go further, you're going to run aground.
Okay, got it.
So
I thought there was a marker that said marker 8. Are there any more details than that? Okay.
There's 8 right there. Or what is that, 9? What's this green one here?
But you want a mix of those pilings. Those are the pilings that Don Quixote hit.
Okay.
Now, are you supposed to be keeping them on your port side?
On your port side, yeah. And you might have some weird wind, and there's tides in there too. If you've got a tide that's pushing you south, you got to really be on it, because there's mud all the way on the other side of that entrance. And we always had to go in there. And since that's where you get drinks, that's where you go take a leak. If you're really shot, you'll take a shower. A lot of people camp there.
In the interest of time, I already sailed down the intercoastal here. Nothing spectacular to say from checkpoint 1 until you get down here, right? Just stay in the channel, basically, right?
Correct. And this is where Peter had us. This is where we have an option: go under the bridge, or out Gasparilla, or out the next pass under the bridge.
Okay. Now you've got all the way down that channel that you're sailing. If the wind is, from the north, you're going to have no problem. But if it's during the daytime, you will have no problem, because you can see the boats coming. At night, it's a nightmare, and there's a ferry there.
That's right. That's right. There is a ferry.
And you can't see, you can barely see the ferry when you're trying not to hit anybody, because you got a bunch of small boats. Most of them don't have lights if they're at night. You'll probably be way ahead of everybody, though.
So the ferry, by the way, Peter, the ferry is just south of Cape Hayes Marina.
Yep.
Where's it going between?
It goes between, Yep.
Just across the channel. So the very next structure after Cape Hayes, the very next structure is a ferry.
Oh, way back up.
Way up at Cape Hayes. So if you zoom way in there, and you see that cable area?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking at Google Earth here. Let me find it. I'm looking at Google Earth. That cable area, in fact, right at Beach Plan B, the green marker there with the red marker right off of it.
Yeah.
That is that the ferry? That's the ferry.
Yeah, you can't read it on Navionics very well because they don't have roads.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the ferry right there. In fact, what it does is it connects that side to the island straight off from Cape Hayes.
Okay.
On the north side.
Gotcha.
And that's the only connection to the island, so it goes all night long. Well, I don't know if it goes all night long. We just stopped and camped, so we got them in the daylight. It was no big deal in the daylight, which hopefully it won't be a big deal for you.
I was telling Peter that further south, there's this place called Don Pedro Island State Park.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, about a mile down. And I tracked Chief last year, and he pulled in there for the night.
There's a lot of, can you hear me?
Yep, can you hear me fine?
Yeah, we do.
Okay. Yeah, but you guys can't do that because you got a big boat. So you can take all those little boats I can pull in there. Hell, I can wade in there with my goose or anything. Sean Payment Lawless, he was right down in there in that little West White Potter. He had no problem until the wind blew him totally over in the water. He damn near fell out of the boat. A gust of wind hit him 90 degrees to where he was anchored, and it just laid him right over.
Well, you see marker 4 in red?
Yeah.
Marker 4. Yeah, marker 4.
Marker 4 in red. In red, right at the bottom of the screen here.
Right.
Okay, marker 4 in red. Just north of that, oh, in fact, they actually show you the pier. So zoom in north of that, and they show you a pier right there. See that pier sticking out?
But those are all those rich pricks who'll just as soon as shoot you as look at you. Those are the guys that bitch and send the water cops after your ass. That's a very unfriendly shoreline.
Hold on.
Yeah,
that is the San Pedro Island State Park. That's
it is. Well, maybe that's different, but it's just
they put a pier in on that, and my question is, and there's boats tied up to it on Google Earth. My question is, can we tie up to that pier?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's a state park. Yeah. It's a state park. In fact,
I'll tell you what. You get their phone number and call them.
Yeah, I will.
That'd be the best thing.
The other cool thing, just for you all to know, is if you go straight up the road, which is probably half a mile walk, if a quarter mile maybe, there's this place called Placida Grill, and I went and looked at their menu, and I said to myself, that's what Chief did. He went for dinner.
You're right. Now, you remember where you made that turn to the south to go to Cape Hayes? There's a restaurant right there where you make the turn and a big dock. You can pull right in there, too.
Oh, let's take a look.
It looks like I always wanted to stop there, but I always want to get to checkpoint 1 in the light or as soon as close to light going out as I can.
Called Stump Pass Marina, and it's called the Lighthouse Grill at Stump Pass. It's right on that's it right there. You just go into the marina and you eat.
Yep. Now here's the other thing: if you yank up your rudder, you got mud flats on both sides. You just run it into the mud. Figure when the tide's coming in and go. But the problem is, we want to make as much time as we can with a favorable wind, and that's the beauty of having two guys. One guy can rest, and the other guy can take all the grief for a while. And if he runs into a problem, you wake the other guy up.
Yeah,
I agree. And by the
two
way,
guys is.
The problem is you got Eric, and Eric's always thinking about a good meal somewhere. He's not thinking about race.
That's actually not true, because I was going to just say that on Texas 200 you've got whatever that grill place is there at Corpus Christi.
Yeah, but look, you guys, you know the Texas 200 is like kindergarten. The Everglades Challenge is like graduate school. Think of it this way.
What I'm saying is, even on the Texas 200, you get near that grill and you say, I don't think so. I'm going by. You know?
Yeah, I know. But if you got a fast boat, I'm bringing my G-Cat in 2020, and I'm going to buzz your ass.
All right. So we're down at, we've passed all the good places to eat, and we're now down at Boca Grande Causeway.
Oh no, there's a whole bunch more places to eat down there. I just was so far behind, or it was dark, I didn't go in there.
The actual causeway, back up on waypoint 35.
I'm still trying to connect. I'm still trying to connect again. My internet dropped out. Give me a minute.
Oh, this one here. Oh crap! There's a bridge here.
No,
yeah, there's
Keep going south. Keep going down waypoint 36, 37, 38, 39.
Oh, that
40.
bridge.
Stop at 40. Keep going. Right there. There's your bridge.
Yeah.
It's past. It's a swing bridge, a cable area. That one there. That's called Boca Grande Bridge.
Okay.
And
once you get past that bridge, you can follow right down, and you go all the way from there to Sanibel.
Before we go past that bridge, so that bridge opens on the hour apparently, and it also, Painen, you were telling me it opens when you call.
If you call them, on call, and you call them before you get to it, and but that area to the left of the bridge, you can tack and jibe in there to your heart's content. You won't have any trouble in there. Unfortunately, there'll be other boats coming through probably about that time, because it's going to be Saturday and it's a real bitch.
We're waiting for that prompt, that iPhone prompt to go away so we can see it.
Yeah.
Okay, there it goes. So you can tack up. You can tack up in that on the
right.
On the
See the green? Marker 23 and marker 22, and you can go all the way up to that shore on the north side, and you can just loiter around in there till it's time to go through.
Okay. And then going
So if the wind is anywhere out of any wind out of the north, it'll push you right through that bridge very quickly.
So the other thing is, just beyond that bridge, there's a railroad, defunct railroad bridge.
Yep, there is. That's really fun at night.
And so it's where all those little pink points are. Just past the swing bridge.
I got you.
That puppy looks tight. That puppy looks tight.
So, but
It is.
what are your?
Yeah, but you're the one who wanted to put all these boats together and sail 3 at one time. Mine's only 4 feet wide. No, I would suggest you take a right just before the bridge and parallel that island and causeway and roadway and get your ass out. Keep going down south.
So let's talk
Keep
about
going south. Okay, yeah. No, you're best to get out of there at Gasparilla Pass. And Gasparilla Pass can be tight, and it can be a real bear with the tide coming in.
So you were telling me,
sail.
I want to spend a little bit of time on Gasparilla for Peter's sake, because you were telling me that the route out is against the causeway, and you take the route out when it's outgoing tide. When it's incoming tide,
absolutely,
you go through the bridge.
Absolutely. And there's a nice deep channel. You see, Peter, what says 2 feet and 1 feet?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a lie. It's deeper than that. It's at least 3 feet all the way along the shore, and it's all mangroves right along when you go to the bridge, that whole island to the right, as you're coming south, is all mangroves and deep water. Yeah, and even at low tide, you'll have a hard time walking there. It's up to my nipples when I walked in there.
If you look at Google Earth,
I'm looking at it on Google Earth, so I see what you're talking about. And you would recommend going along there as opposed to where I have 40, 41, 42, 50?
Yes. It's north of Bird Key. So he's got a chart.
Wait a minute. No, waypoint. No, skip those waypoints. You can't go through there. You cannot go through there. I'm gonna just flat out tell you, I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. Stay the hell away. Go to waypoint 23. Oh yeah, no, 40, 41, 42 are perfect if you got a 6-inch draft.
Yeah, Mark went through there last year. That's the one he's the one who told us about.
Well, he must have been a hell of a net one. He was there in the daylight too. I went through there in the daylight and I was bumping up my rudders. Of course, I was tacking back and forth. We had a wind out of the east and it was a real bear.
I told Peter that if we tell Painen that we're planning to go north of Bird Key, he's going to get very excited.
Oh shit, it's horrible in there. I would do it in an instant, but you got to look to that island on the left. There is a nice channel on the island to the left, but you got to have a power boat to get through there. And you're drifting around. There's a tidal flow through there. Okay, 6 feet. Yeah, Mark was pretty damn lucky. I didn't check his course, but he was pretty damn lucky to make it. It's great if the tide is going out and you're lucky.
So our plan is tide going out. We'll hug the causeway between the mangroves and Bird Island.
Yeah. If the tide is going out and it's still fairly high and it's flowing good, you can probably take Mark's route.
Okay, I don't care to.
But only if the tide is going out. If the tide is coming in, you may die. Period.
Okay,
because it's got some good currents.
Here's why I don't like Mark's route.
No, I like Mark's route if it's going out, because it'll push you right out. You could probably have better luck paddling the boat rather than sailing, depending on where the wind's from, because the tide will suck you out. And that's nice. I like that route.
Painen, the reason I'm going to say I prefer the southerly route south of Bird Island is because you've got visual causeway, mangroves. You can see where the heck the channel is. Up there north, you're looking at a chart which could or may not be accurate any longer.
Right, yeah. Yeah, but I know that they're not going to be right next to the causeway and down along that, just to the west of that, the causeway roadway. That channel is always used. It's always deep. The water moves through there. It doesn't silt in. Now, when you get out to Gasparilla Pass itself, that thing silts in and it narrows down considerably. So you got to
Okay.
be in the middle. You can't go one way or the other. It's got to be fairly accurate.
Okay, we're waiting.
But it's
for the
no
prompt
worse
to
than the
go away.
Texas 200.
Okay,
It's
so
kind of like,
when the iPad prompt goes away, we can see it. We're just
Oh,
holding.
sorry,
but
guys.
you know, Mark's boat, Mark has a dagger board, and his thing doesn't. He's got a kick-up rudder and a retractable rudder, so he's got pretty much full rudder authority at low speed just by yanking up the rudder, and he can do that in maybe 5 seconds. You
Yeah.
guys can't do that. Yours flips up.
I'm gonna
Uses
work on. I'm going to work on some sort of shallow rudder. It'll be very small. It won't be a big one. It's strictly for these little sections like this.
Yeah.
But you
probably, that's a good idea. How much does your boat draw without the rudder down?
18.
If it's just floating in water?
17,
How
18 inches. 18 inches.
All right.
Loaded.
See, that's still a lot of boat. But honestly, but my G-Cat drives that with the rudder out too. So I'm not going to knock it because I went in there, but you've got a flat bottom so you can slide it off. Mine cuts in like a knife and sticks on both sides, which is a real pain.
No, I don't have a knife. I don't have a flat bottom. I've got a heavy V with a deep rocker.
Oh, okay, yeah. In that case, if you were perfect and you followed Mark's route and it was going out, say just a little after high tide, you'd probably have no problem. If you're doing it and you're not too sure, the safest way is just, okay, I'm looking at the causeway that flows out, tide's going out. I would stay next to that island where the bridge is, the rotating bridge, and it's fairly decent water all the way down that you can sail. Now, having said that, if you've got a problem with that or the tide is coming in, you're going to have to go under the bridge and then go down to Cayo Costa, and we'll take a look at that. Let me see. Okay, I'm back on the map now.
Let's talk about what you said about leaving Gasparilla Pass and headed straight out. You said there was a lot of obstructions and you got to go way the heck out.
Well, zoom in again. I'm looking at these. Navionics has got them marked well. You got to go from that C, waypoint 50. Oh, I got this iPad thing up again.
Oh, crap.
Okay, see, waypoint 50 to waypoint 51. You don't have to go out that far. You got to go out to where it says 7 feet deep, and then you can make a turn.
Okay.
You can move. Okay, a little bit further out. There's some real shallow spots in there. Go a little bit more. Yeah. Okay, now you can make the turn right there, and that'll be fairly accurate.
Where are you going to line up with next? Because it's got to be pretty far south.
You gotta zoom out a little bit, and okay, let me see where you got. Okay, zoom in just a little.
I put a waypoint. You see waypoint 52?
Right, but there's a lot of crap in there. You can almost go from 51 to 52 straight across. Doesn't seem to be a big problem. Now zoom in a little bit on 52. Okay, you see where it says 2 feet, 4 feet, and all that stuff? That scared the living shit out of one of my buddies when he went through there with his tandem island. It spooked him so bad when he got to Sanibel Island and the bridge, he quit. He said that scared the crap out of him in the dark.
Yeah, we don't see the 2 feet, 4 feet.
Yeah,
hold on,
only right here, right along the.
Oh,
right. And now here's the rotten part. If you're lined up on a lot of you don't see that. You see in the channel, it's 31 feet deep. However, if you're sailing along in a tandem island with your dagger board all the way down and you hit that 2 foot, 1 foot at low tide, that wakes your butt up. And you won't be able to get through there with your rudder down.
Well,
maybe you will. You 17.
I mean, here's my thing is I'm competitive, but I'm going to sail around all that bullshit and avoid the anxiety.
You got it. You just said that's the best thing you can do. Sail, because you're only looking at 5, 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah,
you run aground there, you could be in there all night. You can break your boat. You can sink. Well, you won't because you got extra hulls. But it's just, this is, people, this sucks. Okay. This is one of the, I never went that way because it sucked so bad. I went as far offshore as I needed to go, and then I made the turn outside of all those marks, and it was dark as a witch's butthole, and I whaled all the way down the coast. It was great.
Yeah, so waypoint 52 gets me out of all that bullshit, and then I can just sail down to 53.
Absolutely. Yep. And now, but once you pass that bullshit, you can cut in toward waypoint 53. You can move that in easy and cut a little bit of distance off. Okay, now go down to Marco Island. Leave waypoint 53 in there and go to Marco Island. Go
Okay.
all the way down. Let's skip everything. Keep going. Move it all to the left.
You're saying sail all the way down there?
Yep. From waypoint 53, keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay, you see waypoint 54?
Yeah.
That's about perfect. I was 36 miles offshore. I had no problem. However, at night, there's lobster pots floats out there, and you can be sailing along, and your sail is full, and the waves are hitting you, and you think you're going great, and you're sitting on a lobster pot. And I didn't move 1 inch in 20 minutes. I turned on my light, and I was looking at the same crap. Okay, you see where it says? You see where it says natural resources boundary?
Yeah.
My son got nervous there, and he wanted to go closer to shore, and he wasn't a very good navigator, and he turned me northeast, and 2 hours of heading northeast in exactly the wrong direction. And when I found out, I was so pissed, I turned back. Cost me 4 hours. I would have been into Indian Key Pass and all. I said, he basically blew that whole day because of that. So you're going to take a straight shot. And at night, at night. Yeah. Okay. So I like that. All you got to do is look out for any markers you might be, any of those floats you might be stuck on, and you'll hear them when they hit your boat because you'll be moving usually.
So we can't see the screen,
Oh,
Peter.
Okay, gotcha. So is there anything?
There it goes. Okay.
Is there anything to say about? Okay, let's say we go through the bridge. Is there any?
The bridge? You're going to have to stay in the channel and take all those powerboat wakes. And when you're talking powerboats, I'm saying 70, 80 feet. They're not small. When I sail inshore, we had nobody in there because we were sailing late at night later in the evening. And for some reason, nobody was there. The other time I sailed, I did it in daylight, and I stayed way out of the channel in 3 inches to 2 feet of water and had no problem. But if you sail down there, just follow all the markers, and some of them aren't lit. And you'll be sailing that at night because you guys are going to be that far easily.
And then just
we sailed it with eyes wide open.
Why would we?
But they all show up.
The only reason we would go inside is if there was an unfavorable tide at Gasparilla, right?
Right.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Or if the wind, because you're not going to be able to tack very well in there. If you've got a southwest wind or an unfavorable wind, you might as well stay offshore and tack back and forth. It's much better out there with nothing to hit, except that crazy pass we just went through.
I agree.
What pass is that? I forgot. Johnson Shoals.
Yeah.
But you guys don't plan on camping. You'd sleep on the boat at anchor anyway.
Right.
Which means you just get behind an island and throw out an anchor and relax.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. And I got a few places you can anchor right outside. Now here's a funny deal. When you get down to Flamingo, if you're having trouble making any headway against the east wind, you can go over to First National Bank at low tide, and the water's going to be coming in, and you can anchor in there. It might be a little bit rough. It might be uncomfortable, but in the morning, the wind usually switches, and you can probably sail right in with no tacks. Okay. And I didn't know that, but that's what happened with me. And also, when you get to Murray Clive Channel, Murray Key, the water there is about 2 feet deep, and I've seen big trimarans and catamarans anchored in there in 2.5 feet of water out of the wind, and it's very calm.
Well, we'll get there.
And that's what I've done.
But
when we get down there, I'll bring it up again. In other words, if you have the choice of going into Flamingo or not.
Hey, hold on, Painen. Peter, were you able to catch half of that?
It's all being recorded.
Very good. Okay. Well, these are just things that I'm thinking further down the coast. If you go into Flamingo and you dock overnight, they charge you $20 or $25.
Yeah. Okay. I got you.
And there's a lot of mosquitoes in there. If you're anchored out there, or you're anchored out behind East Cape Sable or West Middle Cape or North Cape to sleep, there's hardly any bugs because you're offshore.
Yeah, I love that.
If the wind's out of the east.
Well, we'll get
and
there
if Don Quixote and I had stopped and beached the boat, we would have had no problem. But we were too damn proud, too tired, too competitive to stop and do the right thing, which is stop. John Bell and Will Nye came through there the next year, and they said, well, what happened to Painen Dias and Don Quixote, the dumb shits? They capsized, wrecked the boat, lost the boat. They pulled in at East Cape Sable and slept in the boat and stayed in the boat for 11 hours, all through the dark. They got up next morning and there were crocodile tracks all the way around the boat. The sun came up. and so don't be wondering. But I've camped out there many times, and I know I've seen the tracks, but they never came in my tent. So why should I care?
Oh my goodness! Listen, right where Peters 54 is, right where Peters 54, there's some miserable looking stuff there.
You do not want to go in there. You want to go all the way down to that marker 10.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you want to continue down outside, where in the 15-foot area. Go down there, and then you see Indian Key Pass. Okay, go a little more, a little bit more. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Now take a straight shot at Indian Key Pass. Okay, and that will probably. The shoals are variable, and that's the best. If Don Quixote and I would have done that, we would have saved about 2 hours. We got off of Cape Romano. Cape Romano is stay outside. What you got is great, because you're going to be sailing like a bat out of hell. You'll be out there, no tides, no screwing around, no currents, no dome homes. You can see all that stuff. It looks like you'd save a lot of time by cutting across. You will not. You will die in there. It's horrible.
I'm not a fan of cutting across. All right, so
no.
Get the screen, clear the screen again.
Yeah. Yep.
Why is it doing this?
Don't know.
I'm not getting it on. I'm not getting the prompt on my.
Okay. So if we back up from 55 and look at this all the way back up to Gasparilla, I think we've covered about everything except for you mentioned two places to go in. One was a bank. And why would you go in there again?
Oh, no. This is way down in Flamingo. This is way down at East Cape Sable in Florida Bay, way down there.
We'll get
I was just putting it in. So you'd know about it. We're talking basically. These things pop up.
He's talking.
These are some of the right down there. If you have to, you can put your boat in on East First National Bank. You can also put it in on the left where it says 4. You see, there's a green marker.
Yeah,
1 foot.
That. Yep.
That's where Mark went. That's where Mark put it in, and you can just grab the boat, pick it up, and float it off. And if you've got problems, go left or right. Now you see East Cape Sable where that T is, where the E is. You can go around that point, and even with an incoming tide and a big east wind and 3 to 4 foot waves in there, you'll be protected all the way from North Cape all the way down. And you can anchor in there at night in the dark when the wind is coming out of the east in a storm. It's really nice, actually.
All right. Very nice. Good to know. All right. Mm-hmm. So now this Everglades city is you've got a lot to say about that puppy.
You don't want to go up in there. It's very narrow channels and stuff. Well, let's go there. Let's go in the channels.
Okay, hang on.
Get to Indian Key Pass.
Yeah, we'll get down. Hold on a minute. Put my little marker that says East Wind Shelter.
Clear the screen. Clear the screen when you get a minute.
There, go. So East Wind Shelter, right?
Yep.
Yeah, right. If the wind is out of the east, it gets relatively deep in there. And if you had a wind out of the south or the west, you'd be able to sail right into Flamingo anyway, even against the waves. Okay, you see where it says A? Okay, as long as we're down here, you can see everything right where it says East Cape. Yeah. Everything along there is very shallow, but there's nothing in there that's going to hurt your boat unless you hit a post.
Yeah.
And those are marked on the chart. So if you have a problem, run it into the beach and anchor in there. That's, a big north wind or something crazy like that. If you have a problem, you can get in there and be protected from north winds and crap like that.
So right there you're talking about is a north shelter.
Right. And there's even openings where you could sail into. There's old canals there. And when you get in there, they're not marked on this particular map, but you can look at them on Google Earth. You can go in there and tie yourself to the mangroves, and it's deep enough. And I think Mark anchored right in there. If you look at his courses, you'd have to refine those with Google Earth and then mix them and match them. But there's nothing that's going to hurt your boat on the north side. It's mostly just muck and crap.
Okay.
And on the south side, it's not. It's mostly mud. you'll slide right in there. So there's nothing to break your boat in this area. So, like I said, if you have a problem, get to shore and relax.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I see the canals you're talking about there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can
let's
run right up inside that and tie up to a mangrove and sit if you have to. Because I think you're
talk through this fun up here.
okay. Let's go back to Indian Key. Now,
Yeah.
Indian Key, you can go either left or right, depending on where you happen to be close. And if the tide is going in, that's beautiful. If the tide is coming out, you might as well pull right up to the beach if you can, or anchor. You'd want to anchor on the north side because there's a projection out there. If you can sneak in there, I haven't been there, but yeah, I probably won't. Well, I'll be there this year more than likely. I'll check it out and let you know once I go by there. A lot of this stuff I'll be doing this year if I make it that far.
Oh, you'll make it.
Give me a better idea. Yeah, especially in Flamingo. I haven't. Indian Key. I haven't been to Indian Key for a while.
You're talking about where to pull in and stop for an outgoing tide. You're talking.
Okay. See, waypoint 55, and then go to waypoint 55 and zoom in if you can, and then look at it on Google Earth. Okay. You see where it says 6 feet?
Yeah.
Right in there. Yeah. Depending on where the wind is, that was always a real nice beach with a little lagoon right there.
That is a
now,
nice beach.
Yeah. Now look at the other side where it says camping area. That's not a camping area. Everything on the other side is all rocks and bush and crap. You can't go in there. There's nothing there.
Okay.
But all that little grayish area on the left side of the island, you can pull up behind that and go to sleep. Just throw out your anchor, and your boat may even be sitting on the sand as the tide is going out. But when the tide starts coming in again, it'll pick you up, and you just kind of coast right on in.
Hey, just clear the screen for that. Yeah. Clear the screen.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's excellent. So that's the outgoing tide. We just hold on and don't fight the sucker.
Don't fight the sucker. Go to sleep. Set your watch. Set your phone. Yeah. Right. Now, you see there's a lot of water in there. It looks like big channels. Now, if you've got enough sail and a good wind, you can go right over. You can run right over that tide and go right in because you got a fast boat. We had to row and tack.
So here we go. We're going up this channel, and you go all the way to Everglades Air Park.
No. Yeah, keep going.
You were talking
about that's pretty much the way it goes. Now, remember, when you get in these, zoom in now. This is going to be fun. Zoom in more, a lot more. Start at waypoint 56. Up to 56, it's a no-brainer. A little more. Zoom in. Okay, I don't know what the scale is, but you see marker 9?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to be aground. It's a tacker's nightmare in there. It says 3 feet. It goes from 3 to 6 inches in like 4 inches. It drives you nuts. And you've got a heavier boat than my G-Cat. I ran aground so many times in there. And you think you can tack and make it? You can't. You got a short tack all the way through there. And it gets worse as you get in.
But
so the line from waypoint 50.
Only if you're headed east right there, so it'd have to be an east wind, right? To
it varies. It varies. You might have to row. You know, you bring those oars, boy, or bring those paddles. Okay, how fast can you paddle your boat in no wind?
We'll find out.
Okay, let me put it this way: if it's an outgoing tide, how fast can you paddle a trimaran with no wind? With a 4-mile-an-hour current hitting you right on the nose, you're going to be going backwards so fast, you might as well pull into the mangroves and just relax.
Yeah.
And if you're going to pull into the mangroves, if you're going to pull into the mangroves, well, you'll see it. The water's very clear most of the time. But I like the south side, you know, the right side of the course.
Yeah.
Okay, and let me see. Okay, so but your waypoints look good.
So, Painen, what are the times of day of arrival at this place with a boat like yours and mine?
It's going to depend on the day, right?
You come in when the tide is going in, and you go out when the tide is going out. Then you got maximum water.
It has nothing to do with light or dark, huh?
you're going to have both guys awake. You're going to have the spotlights on. You're going to be cursing and swearing and wondering, why the hell did I listen to this other idiot and do this?
All right. So there
No,
you go, Peter.
if it's a daylight, and it's coming out, take a nap. But you're going to have a rest period there.
That's about as good a description as you're going to get on that sucker.
Yeah.
Pretty much. That's it. Yeah. But I tell you, but this is the fun part. I love this area. This one and East Cape Sable and Stump Pass. I love all of them because they separate the men from their boats. Literally.
Okay, so
that's why
go ahead. After 59.
Okay, let's zoom into waypoint 59.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, now you see where, keep going. Okay, you see that mark, what is it, mark 25 and 26?
Yeah.
Zoom in a little more. Okay, you got to go a little past that. See what says 4 feet on the left?
Yeah.
And spoil banks?
Yeah.
You have to go past that spoil bank. And sometimes if the tide is high, you can make a right turn just past that spoil bank.
Okay.
Go ahead and clear screen, Peter. Thanks.
Okay. So let's see, where are we at?
Let me take my
okay, zoom out just a little bit.
Here's my
Okay, if you're going fairly slow, you can go from, let's see, spoil banks. From waypoint 60 to that green mark, you can usually make a right-hand turn there and go slowly down.
At the green
high
mark.
tide.
At 27.
Yeah, high tide.
Waypoint 60, yeah.
So you can turn.
And now head, yeah. See where it says 1 foot, a little bit south of that? You don't want to be in there.
Yeah.
Okay, and you'll have to watch for ripples on the water, and if there's any wind, you won't be able to see them, and the bay is very muddy. Okay, now go a little further in toward the ranger station.
Now I like this thing in the middle here where it says numerous snags.
Well, yeah, you got that. But you see, okay, let me see. See marker 27 and 28?
Yeah.
You can also make a turn there, and it says like 3 feet.
Yeah.
And then you try to not carry too much sail because you might run into some mud or some numerous snags.
Hey, just clear screen. Clear screen, Peter.
However, I have to tell you, there's not too many things that will tear out your bottom at low speed in that area.
Okay.
It's mostly mud and crap.
So where are we going?
Peter, clear. Hold on, we can't see. Clear.
I'll get it.
Yeah. Okay.
Where are we going from here?
Okay. Now you see where where it says Bear Island and okay, see the ranger station? You can probably run from waypoint 60 over toward the ranger station. And then there's a channel. See where it says 3 feet, 2 feet in there? It's actually a little deeper in there. It's not that bad. Right down the causeway, all the way down, kind of slowly. You see it says 2 feet, 2 feet.
So you want me to go from 60 to 28 now? Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, these are 2 routes. You can cut up there at waypoint 60 and start traveling down. See where it says number 4, the red triangle?
Yeah.
Okay. But if you zoom in on all those snags, they may, I'll check and see if they've got markers up there, because normally they pound in a PVC pipe so you know where to go.
Okay.
However, I followed those PVC pipes and I've ran my goose aground, and I can sail in 2 or 3 or 4 inches of water. So it's kind of short. But okay, waypoint 28 on down, there is a channel along there that, oh, wait a minute.
Alongside this causeway?
No, well, yeah, you're right along the causeway, not too far off it. See, it's mostly 2 and 3 feet all the way down to Chokoloskee. Okay, so if you're right off the road, you keep the road on your left, and you travel relatively, calmly down there, even at low tide, you can get through there. Okay, see, it says 2 feet, 2 feet, 2 feet, 3 feet, 2 feet.
Yeah.
And then you see where it says 1 foot?
Yeah.
Okay, that 1 foot means 1 foot, but it's all soft mud. You're not going to hurt yourself anywhere in there.
Okay.
You might drag your rudder. It may pop up, but you can sail all the way along that 2 foot section. But where the dotted line is, that's pretty much safe just to the right side of that dotted line, and even the left side. And if the water's clear, you can see it nicely.
Okay.
But remember when I was saying we should go? Yeah. Okay, can you zoom in on that? Okay, keep zooming in.
Or?
Keep zooming in.
Okay, okay. You see there's where it says outdoor resorts?
Yes.
And then there's where it says CP2. You want to move checkpoint 2 up about an inch. Up where that little break is on the left-hand side, and there's a dock. Where the harbor is, there's a harbor on the right side. Move right up to the top of that. Move checkpoint 2 up.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I think I have it locked. Hang on a second.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because if you go down there, you're going to hit all the old pilings and punch a hole in your boat.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Because I never go there in the goose, and there's things under the water that will grab you. Yes. Okay, that's perfect. There's a little tiny point there, and you can bring your boat in right there. You want to be, probably in your case, you might even want to anchor, depending on how the wind is, you might want to anchor out there and leap off with some shoes that are decently tied to your feet.
Okay.
Okay. Now, where you have checkpoint 2, all the way along that beach, that's mud, and you can't put your boat. But you see, there's a little mark there, right under the C in CP2, the second C.
Yeah.
There's a tree there on that beach, and you would probably. It's best to get to the right side of the tree if you want the deepest water.
Okay.
However, last time I was there, they were dumping rocks in right where the EC is.
Okay.
They filled that in with rocks. You can anchor out there with not much problem. At low tide, it's going to be a foot or maybe less. So you might have to anchor a little further out and take your chances on coming in and just lower your sails. It'll be safely anchored out there.
So here's a good question. What's the tidal range? How many feet are we talking about in this area?
Oh, God. Sometimes 24 inches to 36 inches. And it's a double tide. It's four tides a day. So it's high, low, high, low.
Yeah.
So if you screw it up, you got to wait while it goes out and then get it while it's coming in. So, but that gives you a chance to rest. But if you miss it, you can't sail against it unless you can sail in with the north wind against the tide. I think in your boat, you could do that, and part of the way anyway. At least get in there and get into where it's shallow and anchor for a while. But I've seen big tides, like almost 3 feet. You can punch in on Google and say tide chart or tide table for Chokoloskee, and that'll tell you the range, both high and low.
Okay, all right. That gives me a
so
idea.
leaving Chokoloskee, you've told me that going out Middle Pass, you've got to hug the point there.
If you can get Mark's chart, he did it perfectly. And he went out Chokoloskee Pass. That's the only one I would recommend for you. It's not the shortest, but it's the safest and the deepest. And honestly, I've never been out there.
Is that
I've done every other. I've done Sandfly. I've done everything else. But
are we talking about this?
Yeah, we'll get Mark.
Right
Zoom out.
Okay, but
Zoom out a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
That's the one.
Okay, zoom into Chokoloskee. Zoom into Chokoloskee, and I'll show you where you have to go with your boat.
It's
okay. Keep zooming in. Keep zooming in. If you can go in more, keep zooming in. Okay, now go up to checkpoint 2. Bring in the checkpoint 2. Okay, keep going. Okay, you see that shore from checkpoint 2 down to that canal?
Yeah.
There's a canal. You can sail. You got to sail out. You got to go out from checkpoint 2 quite a ways, and there's some stakes out there. Once you're out at the stakes, then you can kind of draw a bead down toward that canal. From the canal on down, all along the island, it's all dredged out. And sometimes you're only 10 feet off the dock, and that's the deepest water. You move out, and there's probably a stake out there or a pole, and you can sail between the docks and the pole.
Okay, but I'm confused.
All along the island.
I'm confused. Why are we going along the island if we're going back up to Middle Pass here?
No, we're not going back
that's
up.
not.
It's the lower pass, Peter. It's the lower pass. You got to go around Parkway Motel. Right around Parkway Motel. And what he's saying is you go straight out you get out there a little ways, visually you look for and then you head down to 29. And then around this little corner, you are literally within arm's reach of the docks. It's that close. On Google Earth, you see it.
Yeah, it is. You're going to be, sometimes you're 5 feet off the dock on your port side, and it's deep. You don't have any trouble, but the dang wind and the tide will that's what you got to worry about. Which is why it's best to go out on a tide. Now the thing is, you're going to have up to a 4-mile-an-hour tide going out, and you could actually paddle your boat out of there just by keeping it oriented with one guy paddling and one guy running the rudder. That's almost enough to do it.
So
now, are you on Google Earth? Eric, are you on Google Earth? Can you see those dragon's teeth? You can see the dragon's teeth surrounding that area, the white teeth.
Yes, I do. And so when you hit
that will rip the bottom of your boat out in 15 seconds. I'm not kidding. And it flows fastest. It flows fastest at the end of the tide. When the tide is you think it would be fine when the tide is going out at that deep low tide, those things come out of the water, and the birds walk on them. You got to be watching where the birds are walking, and make sure that they are short-legged birds, not long-legged birds, because they will fool you. It's that critical. When you see a mangrove on the left-hand side, stay the hell to the right, because that mangrove is in water that's already too shallow to sail 25 feet out from it. And I've hit that sucker 4 times, and I ripped the bottom out of my Boy Scout canoe. It's so much fun.
Painen, I understand that when you hit Smallwood Store on Google Earth, you see Smallwood Store.
You got to start turning right.
That's where you start turning right. It's Smallwood Store.
Right. So now, there is a point.
Smallwood Store is just about at waypoint 30, but it's a little bit. You have to look at Google Earth to see it, but you see that last inlet that's sort of a strange little rectangle there? That little dock, that little inlet, Smallwood Store is on the south of that, right at the point. That little point above the P on waypoint 30, right above on that point at P, that's Smallwood Store. That's where you.
Okay, now zoom in. Zoom in on Google Earth from Small Point Store out, and you'll see some trees further out, way out. It's probably a half a mile.
Yeah.
And you'll see the sand, and you'll see the dragon's teeth on the right as you're if you got north-south orientation, you'll see the dragon's teeth on the right. And you see those little mangroves in there on the dragon's teeth? Those mark. You don't want to go near those. You want to draw a channel right through there. Now, if you continue south from those little mangroves, there's another, I can't really see it here. If you can go a little south from waypoint 30 here and zoom out just a hair, a little bit more, I got to get the map. Okay. It's the same thing. Waypoint 43. If you're looking at waypoint 30 and waypoint 43, check in there among the dragon's teeth. Make sure the mangroves, the little tiny mangroves, are on your right, and look for some an island with some big trees on it, straight out from Smallwoods.
Okay, I'm looking.
Okay, now you're going to be going to those trees almost and staying to the right. If you were going out the other pass, which is the way I'll be going, I stay to the left of those trees. But those, you see how the dragon's teeth hook around in there?
Yeah.
It's better for you to go out Chokoloskee Pass. Okay, waypoint 43 looks good. Waypoint 44 looks good. And then waypoint 45, but you're going to have to be awake. That looks pretty good all the way through there. Okay, so where are we going?
Well, let me connect.
And once you're out to 47 and 48, there's really no dragon's teeth outside of waypoint 45. Waypoint 45, you pretty much got it made. It's just following the channels. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if there's markers or not. I'm gonna check that out when I go out there this year, or maybe before you guys do it. I'll let you know.
Well, if it's daylight, take some photos.
I can't. If I stop to take a photo, the damn goose will turn over with that big sail.
Okay.
It's a touchy boat. It's fast and fun and it sails, but it's when they tell you, these people, you read the results. These people are talking about it. They don't dare stop to take a drink. They don't dare let go of their paddle. They don't dare let go of the tiller or move forward. They are literally on point the entire way.
Yeah, I guess it depends.
And I mean, it's there are portions like that. You don't want to do anything except not hit shit or tip over. I mean, honest to God, I laugh at the Texas 200 because it's so dirt simple. And you know it's not. But compared to the Everglades Challenge, it really is. I mean, you got great markers. You run into the mud. Hell, you can get out and throw the anchor in a foot of water and you relax. Take a crap out there and wave at the people, stop at a dock. No, this is the Everglades Challenge. Chokoloskee will eat your boat. And ask Mark. I told him, this is a maker and a breaker. You screw up here, you're sinking. And it's just, and you're out in the middle of nowhere. You'd have to go to Everglades City and have them tow you back. Your boat wouldn't sink, though. That's the nice thing about a multi-hull. You'd probably just tear up the bottom of the main hull. And that's why I said, get some of the plywood and one of those screw guns and some way to pick up the boat so you can just slap a patch on and screw the screws in and leave them in there for the rest of the race. But Chokoloskee is the one that will break your boat. What?
Painen, what was the glue you said you pick up?
I'm not sure. There's a couple of them. I was in the store the other day looking at the epoxy mix that cures underwater for swimming pools. It's $19 a tube. But if you have a pre-cut patch, like a rectangular or a square, you could just slap that crap onto the epoxy sealed patch and then hold the patch in there and literally run sheetrock screws right through your hull. And that would be plenty, because once you're out of Chokoloskee, it's pretty much cut and dried. You just have to stop the leak.
I'll find
and maybe bail.
I'll find fast dry like that.
So I've got an
Yeah,
idea.
yeah. There's a lot of things. Or now here's the other thing. A lot of these areas, your hull, if you pull it over to the side, your hull will be out of the water and it'll be dry. You just have to pick it up, put a rock under it, and then epoxy will dry. The fast epoxy is 20 minutes or less.
Yeah.
There's some 5-minute epoxy too. But
So here's an
drag
idea,
along.
Eric. Let's just not do that. Let's not do that.
Don't hit any of that. My advice is don't hit any of that shit.
Yeah.
Well, nonetheless, I'm coming prepared.
Yeah.
Okay.
So where are we going?
That's okay. Everything looks good. Let me see. Where's his waypoints? I got to zoom in a little bit more.
I just followed the channel out. Basically, followed the channel.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it's marked or not, but the channel is wide, and you just stay away from all those damn islands, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And then once you're out there, okay, move into waypoint 70. Yeah, okay, now keep going south. Okay, Lumber Key and Rabbit Key. Demijohn Key, let me see, move up to 70 again. I want to see where that was. Okay, hold that.
Oh, hang on. We'll clear that thing again.
Yeah. Okay, see what says 1 and 2 feet? Move waypoint 70 over a little bit to avoid that, if you can. Because there's more water over to the right. From waypoint 70 to 71, move 71 over a little bit, and that'll be pretty much a straight shot out. Okay, yeah. Okay. And then, what is it, 5 feet on the bottom? 3 feet? You won't have any trouble. Okay, a little bit more. Move waypoint 71 out further. Move it out to where it says 3 feet. Okay, that's where you'll make your break to the south.
Okay.
Okay, now you can zoom out a little bit till you get to Pavilion Key. Okay, Rabbit Key. Okay, the only place that you would have any problem is right at the end of Rabbit Key. There's a sandbar, but see it says 5 feet? So you can put another waypoint at the end of Rabbit Key, a little bit out.
Where?
Waypoint 72, I guess. Okay, keep going. Go. It's south of Turtle Key, directly south of Turtle Key.
So move this.
Okay, keep going. Okay, right. See where it says camping area?
Yeah.
Okay, waypoint 72. Move 72 down to the edge of that sandy area where it says 5 feet. You're pretty much safe. Okay, now let's stop. If you're tired, you're dead shot, and you want to stop. Okay, see Turtle Key straight north of waypoint 72?
Yeah.
If you get up in that channel, you can beach just on the right-hand side of it. It's a real gradual beach. You can pull right in there. Okay, all this area in Rabbit Key Pass where it says 5 feet, 4 feet, 2 feet,
yeah,
I would avoid that, but you can pull around there and go, well, hell, if you're in that area, you might as well go to Pavilion Key, which might be easier. But you can stop there is a bay where it says 2 feet in Lumber Key, depending on how stormy it was. You can pull right into that bay between
Right there?
where it says camping area. Yeah, just to the right. Yeah, wait, that would be a good place to anchor. If the wind was coming out of the southwest or something, you'd be protected in there. Because there's good-sized trees on Rabbit Key, and you can sail in there and anchor and just let it swing at anchor. It's deep enough.
All right.
Very good.
Okay. Okay, let's see what else we got.
Yeah, I'm going to just call this anchor here.
Yeah. It's mostly sand, and even if you go in that channel, it's all sand. It's really very nice. But the power boats do come through there, so you'd want to be okay. Yeah, the reason. See how that channel is? It's 5 feet, right? The big channel to Turtle Key.
Yeah.
That's where all the boats come out. But if you move over just to the north of Rabbit Key, they only do tour boats in there. They show them the pretty shore, and it's really nice. And there's a toilet right there too on Rabbit Key. Of course, you guys can crap in a bucket and throw it overboard. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
The kayakers will stop in that area. Okay, now let's go down south. Keep going down and to your right. Okay, this is, keep going. Pavilion Key. See that red light? Aim for that.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. See that area that says 1, 2, and 3 feet?
Yeah.
You might, if you move your waypoint 72 out a little bit to avoid that, it will be good.
Can you clear screen?
Yeah, hang on a second.
Thanks. Yeah.
I'm moving stuff.
I told Peter, Peter said, how much time should I allow for this? I said 2 hours. And I'm looking at
Oh no, you might need another session or two because you're going to check all this on Google Earth because you want, or Google Maps or Google Earth because you're going to see all the beaches and sand.
Yes. There's a lot of nice places to pull in.
Okay, you won't have any trouble with that. You can go right to that light.
Yeah.
And now you're starting to see markers out there.
Yep.
If you plot a course to the right of those markers, which you may or may not see, I stayed outside those markers and took a straight shot down to East Cape Sable. And so did Don Quixote and I did that. We left Chokoloskee at 6:30 at night, and we were capsizing off of East Cape Sable at midnight. That's the fastest run I've ever seen in a monohull. We were basically surfing from wave top to wave top and just smashing over the tops of them. We were doing better than 11 miles an hour all the way down or more.
So if I take 61 here, oh come on, I didn't want to do that. I put a go-to on it. Cancel go-to. All right. So if I take this guy, put him down here.
All right. See that now? Zoom in a little bit from right there. Okay, waypoint 61. Make sure your waypoint is outside of the line of that, or outside of that marker, because you don't want to hit it at night. It might be lit. It might not.
Yeah, I can.
But that looks like the one that's the furthest out.
So hold on. Where are those? That line of tree telephone poles or something that's a boundary marker that Mark was telling us about.
Oh, that's all those markers. That's the Intercoastal Waterway. All those black poles. They'd like to keep you within 3 miles of shore, but you don't have to because you know how to sail. And when you take this route, there's nothing out there except maybe a lobster float or pot float.
I guess I may not be in this location, but Mark was telling us about coming out of a pass, and when you go out, and I think it was Chokoloskee, but it may not have been. There's this straight line of poles, and you mentioned it to me, Painen. You said it was about 3 miles out. Where the heck was that?
Well, that's those black poles that I'm looking at. Look, you see where you got? Okay, see waypoint 73, and see what says Gulf of Mexico. Hold it right there. Gulf of Mexico. You see those black poles?
Yeah.
That's what he was probably. That might be what he's talking about. It's in the daytime you can follow. That's the way all the power boats go. They follow the line of lights and poles on their GPS. And I wanted to be outside of those and away from the poles, and we just took a straight shot and ran like a bat out of hell. It was really good. And then you start curving in, because I mean you're still further out. You could kind of stay. You want to stay outside that line of poles. But once you get to Middle Cape, depending on where you want to cut it, you can be inside, or in the daytime, it's no problem.
Got it.
But the way the wind was, we stayed outside and we kept inching toward them as we got toward Cape Sable. Unfortunately, when we got to Cape Sable, we tipped over.
No,
that was no fun.
no.
So this is what you
But
mean.
I do
right
like
now.
that idea.
See how I'm inching towards them on that line, and then
Yeah.
where do you want to
Yeah.
turn to go up to Flamingo?
You can start bringing your line in, like waypoint 81. You can bring that in closer to the poles. And then you want to just stay leave the poles on your left-hand side as you get, okay, now see where it says, these are, I think the black poles are unlit, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And, okay, First National, zoom in on First National Bank here. Okay, see that pole 1A? You got to leave that to your left, and you got to get around that last black pole. It's just to the left of 1A, the green marker.
I'm looking. Where's 1A you're talking?
Yeah, straight up from
1A is a green, straight off of the Cape.
Okay, this one.
Okay.
All right.
There.
You see where it says 5 feet? You want to miss that last black pole up in the left-hand corner,
Yeah.
and you want to aim for 1A and leave that to the right. You
Got
won't
it.
have any trouble.
All right. Hang
Okay.
on.
Now you got.
I'm going to delete a waypoint here. I'm going to delete this off. There.
Okay.
While you're doing that, Painen has told me that from there into Flamingo, unless it's a pole, there's nothing that's going to take your bottom out. It's all sand.
Right. It's pretty nice, actually. And, well, it's nothing that's going to hurt you. It may scratch the bottom, but you can basically run into both sides if you've got an emergency and just drop a hook. I anchored in the main channel in 2 and 3 foot waves with a 25-mile-an-hour wind with a 4-pound anchor because I didn't know where the hell I was, and I was so tired I didn't give a rat's ass. and I slept. I pulled that. I said, "Pull that sail down. We've now got an $1,800 tent." And we saved it all night. And if I'd have taken it another block or two, I would have been in 2 feet of water or 3 feet of water with no waves. That's how it is out there. It drives you nuts.
So real quick, since we're talking anchors, and I know that we got more to go, but you mentioned a 4-pounder. I've got a 4-pounder, but I've also got a 15, maybe 17-pounder, whatever it is.
Use the big one because it's sand.
Okay.
If you're going to anchor, you don't want to be swimming around. You'll be safe in both directions. There's not much to hit out there other than one of the poles or one of the navigation buoys or markers.
Okay,
but the rest, and here's the other thing: if it's really an emergency, don't be afraid to get up in there. And when your rudder pops up, keep it up and anchor right there. You'll be in 3 feet of water, and it's even if the tide goes out, you can probably still float. It's mostly your rudder that's going to be dragging. I mean, I don't think we even touched a hull. It was just the rudder pops up. And it's all pretty much soft crap.
Very good. So
try not to anchor where the water's more than 3 feet deep, because there's shallow water on both sides. And I think Mark anchored in there. He was so tired, I think he just died and anchored. And I think he anchored on the north side, next to the mangrove somewhere in there.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. See what it says 1 and 2 feet? 1 and 2 feet, it's all mud in there. But you notice that white spit that comes out of the East Cape Canal?
Yeah.
You might hit something in there too. I don't know if that's deeper or shallower, but the line is marked. Waypoint 75 is good. That's the way you go all the way through. And then you'll be seeing these marks. You'll have the red mark on the right, blinking light, I think. And then you see the green light. You can pretty much go from the red light to the green light directly on the course you got. This is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's wait a minute. Now back out a little bit and see Hurricane Channel. This is fine. You see where it says Murray Key. Go to Murray Key. See where it says there's a channel between Murray Key and Clive Key? That's the way I took my GCAT. And if Mr. Moon made it through there 3 hours before, or 3 or 4 hours before me, and he just sailed on there, went out Man of War, went on down, saved about 25 miles. I got stuck in here, and I spent all day around Clive Key and Dildo Key Bank in that area. It's just horrible in there. I would suggest you go out the same way and break outside where all those marks are. It's lit all the way down.
I mean, that's
and
what
just
we're
keep
planning.
to the right of those marks.
That's what we're planning on doing. I mean,
Yeah, because if if you want to be a hero and the wind is right, you could do all this other crap. But if you're wrong, you could be out there for a week. The other way, one way you do it, 35 miles at maybe, if you run aground, you're going to be averaging 5 miles an hour. You go outside, you might be doing 15, and you got to go 72 miles, something like that.
yeah,
And you got room to tack all the way down because that's where all the big sailboats go.
yeah,
And it's well marked with lights. And you can sail it at night. And there's not much to hit except for 3 or 4 places.
yeah. I mean, I'm not going to run that
But
line.
let's go.
Go ahead.
Yeah, let's go back to Flamingo at Murray Key. If you go into Flamingo, they'll charge you money if you stay overnight. But if you look at Murray Key, see where it says 2 feet, 2 feet, 2 feet, and then 1 foot?
Yeah.
It's actually a little deeper in there. And if the wind is coming out of the east or the south and it's miserable, big trimarans and catamarans anchor right on that 2 foot line, and they're out of the wind. The key is big enough. And then when the wind changes or the sun comes up, you can see all the markers directly into Flamingo.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
So
Going into Flamingo, yeah, you can anchor right there. It's a soft sand. It's beautiful. There's nothing to hit. So if you got a big wind out of the east and you happen to be there, it's much better to stay there than try to go into Flamingo. Just, if you're going to rest anyway. Depends on, you got to get into Flamingo to check in.
Yeah.
But if the wind is not cooperating, but as I say, once you get to Murray Key, if the wind is out of the east, it's pretty much a straight shot into Flamingo. And you don't really have to worry about tides as long as you can stick your nose out of there on an east wind. You can sail back out and then go down to the Gulf easily.
Yeah.
But these are just things I'm mentioning. But as I say, that Murray Key is pretty boat friendly all around the north side, about up until you get toward the channel. Now we zoom in on the channel. Okay. Now move it down a little bit. So we're going up to Flamingo with no, the other way. I'm sorry. Move it up into Flamingo. So where the channel is.
Oh, okay.
You zoomed in a little too far.
Yeah. No, I got you.
Okay. This is critical. You have to get marker 9, and that narrow strip is all you got to play with. You do have more room on the right-hand side, but when you move in there, all of these little banks and things, a lot of them come right out of the water at low tide.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's mostly, see what says spoil area?
Yeah.
I sailed right across the top of that in my goose. But if you look at a lot of the movies when they're going out of Flamingo, those are almost 2 feet out of the water with a north wind from the north. Because it blows, it's like a flat plate. It blows the water away from the shore. And that's the main reason you go out the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah.
So real quick.
You don't have to worry about any of that crap. Yeah. And then the tidal effect is not that big when you've got an east wind because your boat's fast and you'll be 10 miles in 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
So real quick, just to point out what Google Earth shows, which is obviously interesting, is right on top of that spoil area, there's a little mangrove island. So that thing is quite high.
Yes. But I want to tell you, I sailed right over top of everything and left that island to my right and had no problem. But then I can sail in 4 inches of water. But there's other days I wouldn't give you a nickel in my chances of getting out there, even in a goose. It's totally out of the water on the left-hand side coming out sometimes at low tide.
Won't be doing it. We'll be hugging the channel markers.
Yeah, there you go. But no, it's Flamingo is no place to. You got a great boat. I'm looking at least no worse than 7th in your boat. I mean, maybe 7th overall, depending on who's in it. But you guys both know how to sail. You got good speed. You got good sailing instincts, and you've been doing this a lot. So use your speed and use the ability of the boat to get your ass out into the Gulf and bash the hell out of them.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are catamarans. They're getting the crap kicked out of them. You guys are going to be lounging underneath the damn sunshade, with a drink in your hand, one guy on the tiller and the other guy taking a nap. I'm going to be busting my ass to get around there.
That brings up a point. So
yeah.
We were planning on leaving the Bimini at home. What is your idea? Is it that hot?
How much does a Bimini weigh? I remember sitting on a G-Cat. I remember sitting on a G-Cat in a yellow raincoat with a full dry suit on and looking at the temperature, and it was 82 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really funny because you're going to be freezing your ass off up in St. Petersburg and in Fort DeSoto, and you're going to be freezing your ass off at Cape Hayes, and you get to Chokoloskee, which is 100 miles further down, and you'll be in your T-shirt with short sleeves. So
Peter,
the Bimini,
the one thing Painen has told me is that right up and around Cape Hayes, all the way down there, but Cape Hayes especially, there's fog. And then beyond
and
Cape
cold.
Hayes,
It gets cold and dew and all kinds of crap. So you're going to be sailing through it. Yeah. But we sailed on the Lightning. We sailed on the Lightning and it was no problem. It was dry all night, but it was cold the night before.
Well, I mean, Eric,
we came down Pine Island Sound though.
You know, we can talk about this offline, Eric, but I mean, if you took it's a good question is how much does that weigh? But remember how you were talking about building some kind of windbreak for sleeping while we're offshore? You could do that with the Bimini.
Yeah. So by the way, just for you to know, my Bimini folds down. I made it so it folds down inside the cockpit flush.
Oh yeah, that'd be fine.
Yeah, it's out of the way. Okay.
Yeah. You know, did you guys read that article I posted on sunscreens and skin cancer?
Yeah.
As long as we're talking about it.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that. They're saying now that by being exposed to the sun, it's reducing the amount of melanoma in white people. It's becoming less and less of a danger, and it's treatable early on. They're also saying that you will have more squamous cell and more basal cell. We just nip those off and freeze them, and it's no big deal. They're also saying that the sunscreens may be causing more of a danger in some people. Now, you need them on a boat. You have to exercise caution. But I have stopped using sunscreens routinely if I'm only going to be out for maybe an hour in a day. You know, I'm getting my dosage. I used to put sunscreens on, protection. You still need it on your hands. You got to wear gloves. Wear gloves all the time because your hands are going to be the first thing to get them. And you got to cover your neck with just like Texas. Do what you did in Texas, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But
by the way, I'm looking at your route coming down past Sprigger Bank, and I'm noticing, so it's marked, but I'm noticing that it makes some turns. So it's worth recognizing.
Yeah, but if you notice it, also the only thing you got to worry about is hitting some of those poles that aren't marked at night. But if you're watching,
look at this one right here where the arrow just goes straight up from your little cursor arrow, straight up. That's a pass right there.
Oh, where's that? Sprigger Bank. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Yeah, okay. You wanted that pass? Yeah.
Bring it down, Peter, your cursor. Straight down, south. No, down. Your cursor. Yeah, straight down right there. More, or too far. Up. Onto the, right there. Now go to the, there. That's a pass. You best hit it.
I see what you're
Look
saying.
at that. 1 foot.
Yeah, I see what you're
I
saying.
think that, that is a pass. But I think aren't both those lit?
Yeah.
It looks like it's a red and green, so it's lit. They're both lit.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's like Rattlesnake Pass out in the middle of nowhere, but you better hit it.
Yeah. Yeah, you better hit that one. Mark that sucker. Say, don't screw with me. Don't screw with me, Pat.
All right, we'll figure that one out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little tricky.
Oh, there's a couple more. There's, I think, Steamboat Pass is another one that's fun. I never went that way. I took some really fun ones. And I also ran aground at 6:30 at night, and I didn't get off until 6:30 the next morning. Maybe it was 7:30 at night and 6:30 the next morning. And when we woke up, we found we were only 90 feet from the channel, but we couldn't see the marker because the reflector was on the other side of the pole and didn't glow at night.
Oh, no.
I know. I was so pissed. I would have finished. I would have been done on Wednesday and looked like a hero. Instead, I flipped end over end. We got catapulted off the boat. The anchor fell off the trampoline and nailed the boat to the bottom, and some pretty good wind. Damn hook got caught on top of the mast, so we couldn't get the sail down.
So Painen, you've never done the outside?
No, but I would consider it very easy except for a couple of points, and I'll point them out to you.
Okay, so if that's the case, let's just move on to the approach which has me a little concerned, the actual approach into the Pelican.
Well, let's just go.
That's not any big deal. The thing with the Pelican is you got to have your spotlights on because there's a bunch of boats anchored out there.
If you're
the rest of it is real easy.
Okay, let's look at this.
You're more likely to hit an anchored boat than anything else, and you're not going to run aground.
Peter wants to run up this track here.
Yeah, it just.
Okay,
I mean, there's a pass here. Is there anything to note? 60.
Move in a little bit so I can see it better, and then. No, that's not any big deal. Now there is a place called Steamboat Pass. Well, if you can find that, wherever that is. It looks like it might be up here near Shell Key Bank or something.
I think I'm taxing my iPad. It's freaking out a little bit. Hang on a second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like not being responsive, and I'm moving too fast for it, I think.
Okay.
Okay, hang on.
Basically, now here's the deal. We've sailed up there with one of those Harbor Freight 5 LED flashlights, and it will light those markers up 200 feet away from your bow easily. One little, hold it in your mouth and point it that way, and it'll go. You'll see it.
Yeah.
So these things glow really well at night. Now, what happens if there's fog, which sometimes there is? Then you got a little problem.
We got another little pass here. It's important to hit that one. Okay. Got a little shoals along in here you got to watch out for.
Yeah.
And then...
basically, you just follow them up, and when you see a powerboat come, and light up your sails or have your lights on.
Yeah.
Okay, up here near the Key Largo Channel, this is the long one, waypoint 66.
Yeah.
Depending on how you're sailing. This is kind of a long cut, and it's got some tall trees on it. But if you're sailing, it's fine.
Yeah, it looks pretty big.
Not a problem.
Okay.
Ram's Horn Cut gets a little tricky, but Ram's Horn Cut is not bad. It's all sand. You can't hurt it. You can't hurt your boat in there at all. Most of this crap is sand. But you remember down there at that little cut that you were looking at? I think some of those might be rocks, and they can really do the job on you. So you got to hit them.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah, we got to watch those points for sure.
Yeah, but okay, we're looking at Ram's Horn Cut, and then Hammer Point, and then you look up toward where you're going up around the island. Well, I got this iPad thing. You might as well just play it safe because there's mangroves and reefs in there and sand south of that island all the way across. Pigeon Key, just follow the lights. You got a good course there, no problem. And then once you're around Pigeon Key, see if you have to tack. You don't have to stay in the channel. If you're tacking on an east wind, you can tack all the way up almost to shore. This is all deep water south of that track.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see that.
And it's really nice. Up in here, it's not really tricky. You just got to get through there. And once you're at waypoint 6, you can tack anywhere in there. There is an island in there, though, Indian Key. It's hiding under waypoint 6. There's an island in there. Well, wait a minute. No, there it is. Pelican Key. That's what I was looking at.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
So, but from there, you can take a shot toward shore. You don't have to follow the intercoastal. So you can go from waypoint 6 right to the Pelican. Now, if you look at Google Earth, you can see the CVS drugstore.
Yeah.
Okay, just south of the CVS drugstore is the tower, and you aim at that tower if you're coming in at night. Everything on the right side is fine.
They say there's more than one tower.
No, there's only one big-ass tower, and it's a big one, and you can see it from way far away.
Okay.
At night, you will see it. Now, the problem with all this crap is your course looks good there. Your real problem is see where it says Calusa Resort?
Yeah.
That's where they put their damn sailboats. There's no problem from Pelican Key all along that bay on the right-hand side. You just have to make sure you don't hit any anchored sailboats in there. And most of them are just right by the Pelican. There's not much south of there. Yeah, but you see where it says foul on the right-hand side on shore?
Hang on.
Hold on.
Okay, there's usually nothing in there except the docks. And you can see the docks. There's usually no sailboats anchored in there anywhere because it's a big resort and they don't let them anchor in there. You'll only find it, okay, see all the docks now between the F and the Pelican? That's where you're going to find the boats. Because people live on them and they like to eat along that shore. But where it says foul, and then there's a T dock just south of that, there's usually no boats down there at all. And the depth is good. And it's all sand anyway.
And of course, their roads go out ahead of them, so you got to miss them by that stern. Do they tend to swing on anchor, or are they got stern?
Yes, they do. They swing around. So you got to go by the stern. And I went by there. I think I made 4 passes before I finally got it in. And when you get in, it's rocks. If you can get in at the dock, usually the multi-hulls hog all the room there because they get there first, and then you just tie up to the dock with your bumpers. But if you're coming in at night and everybody's already got a berth, the only alternative is to ram your boat up on the ramp and pray, unless you can sneak in somehow.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious, my.
And you can't jump off your boat and walk in because the damn water is over your head.
Yeah.
And it's only it's there's rocks on shore to keep the shoreline protected. There's a ramp. If you could hit the ramp, sometimes the safest thing, depending on where your trailer is to hit the ramp and then go get your trailer and drag it out. Nobody's going to argue with a trimaran, and then you fold it up and then you got the spot. Screw those other guys. Hell, you made it. They didn't yet.
So that ramp, what are the trees like to haul your boat out?
You can't. You have to take the mast down on both ramps. There's 2 ramps. They're not very far apart, maybe 50 feet apart. But and the one on the north side is a better ramp. I think it was a concrete ramp because Joe Frohock and Mark pulled their boat out there. And but you got to take the mast down before you can move the boat up the ramp. In other words, it's worse than the Texas 200. In other words, make sure you don't break your window again or your mast.
No, man.
And there's not a hell of a lot of room either way.
Okay, I'm sharing Google Earth now, so what are we talking about here?
And here's the other thing. There's no other ramps in the area except there's no other good ramps in the whole damn area. You might as well take it out there.
Well,
that's the problem we have.
Hold on. Let's just talk a little bit, now that we've got Google Earth up here, let's just talk a little bit about this, about coming in. Because I noticed that if you come in and there's a strong west wind, heaven help.
Okay, hold it right there. Hold it right there and come in. Because the Bayside Grill at Sunset Harbor. Let's see, where the hell is this ramp? The
ramp is under all those trees. The ramp's under all those trees.
No, the ramp, there's a ramp, the ramps are right next to each other, right in there. Where it says Sunset Cove. If you look at Sunset Cove, it's really hard to see the ramp. Let me see I can see your X, okay? Move your mouse around a little bit. Okay, right there, okay. I'm not really seeing, okay, the beach, see the 2 palm trees just south of that dock?
Yeah.
Okay, move it right in there. Okay, I think that's a Pelican right there, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay, and you'll be docking at the dock. There's that funny dock that looks like a 9. Okay, that's the dock you want to be at right there.
This one?
No, not that one. Okay, that's the one you want to be at.
Okay.
Okay, now the ramp, you see the dock you're at now? The ramp is right over by those trees. Keep coming down that dock. There's a ramp on the right side of that dock, and there's a ramp on the left side. The left side is just dirt and crap. It's a beach type ramp. The one on the right.
The haul out ramp is on the right.
This right
no. Wait a minute. I think it's on the left, actually, right here. Okay, move to the left. No, I don't think that's that. I don't. Criminy, I got to tell you, I'm not sure now.
That's the straight run between the buildings.
I'm going down to Key Largo tomorrow. I'll stop in and take some pictures.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's easier to just go there and look at it.
So that's one ramp, but let me tell you what, I found 2 others. I found 2 other ramps, and they're to the north, and they're a ways, and they're through Little Buttonwood Sound, And they're clear up north. But you're saying forget all that and get it out here.
Let me put it this way. After you've come 300 miles and you want to go another 5, how fast can you paddle your boat against the wind and the tide?
Well,
But you're right. That is the best ramp up there. If you can sail up there, go. They charge $10, and it's a nice ramp. I just never had the energy to make it up there.
We're gonna have a
Let me
motor.
tell you what I've got. Yeah, I'm going to motor. So.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, you can have your motor. Oh, no, if you got a motor, go there. Go there. That's great.
Yeah, I'm going to motor. So I'm going to motor up there and not mess with the Pelican. But can you tie up back to the Pelican? You can't tie up on the other side because it's a ramp. So the only place, there's like one spot to tie up at the Pelican. And if it's taken, you're done.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. It is. And you can't, and all that, everything, all the shoreline along there. I did look at the shoreline when I was down there. Last time I was there, it was all rocks and crap. And I looked at the videos from 2018, and it was all rocks. The guys were coming in, and they were ramming the rocks just to get their boat on shore.
Me too. I looked at the same thing very carefully.
Yeah, very carefully. Surprisingly, the ending is the worst.
It is the worst. In fact,
Yep,
I looked at it and I said to
and
myself,
if the wind out of the north, with the wind out of the north, you can wreck your boat right at the finish. But I knew that I had 2 layers of extra fiberglass, so I just aimed it at the damn ramp and took it right in.
you know what Mark suggested was that right here at the mouth between those 2 docks, that if the wind is adverse, just spin around, drop your sail, and float backwards in.
Yeah, you could do that. Bring your rudder up, but
push off with your push poles and your long.
Now you got to remember, if there's people on the dock and you're the top 5 boat, you're going to have people grabbing your lines for you and pulling you in. So you guys be good. You guys be good. Don't screw it up, and you'll have a dock. And then get your boat out of the water as quick as you can before those other maniacs ram you and sink you.
Can you zoom in here any more than this, Peter?
No, this is max zoom right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look right. Just leave your cursor right where it is. Look a little bit to the left, horizontally. It looks like a buoy sticking out there in the middle.
This one?
Right there. What the heck is that?
That's a piling.
That might be a piling.
These are all pilings.
I wouldn't fit there. I wouldn't fit.
Probably not.
No, your boat is going to have a problem because mine is 8.5 feet wide, and yours is how wide?
12.
You're not going to fit.
Yeah.
You just won't. And the other ramp is right very close, and we had a hell of a time getting a Hobie 17 in there. And Mark, I don't know how Mark got his boat out. Call Mark and ask him.
Eric, all you got to do, Eric, is stop long enough to throw the motor on the back, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And if it's daylight, you can motor right on up there. And the other place you're going up to,
where is
I'll
that?
take some pictures up there when I go by there.
Where is that? What's the
I'll
name?
see what I can get. That's up at Florida Bay Outfitters, and I can't remember the name of the club, but I usually look for Florida Bay Outfitters, and it's a real wide ramp. You can just pull it right out there, and they usually have a pretty good parking lot. You'll be coming in on Thursday or Wednesday probably. There'll be probably nobody there, even in the wintertime.
I'm hoping we're coming in Tuesday. What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, I thought I was going to kick ass and take names. Hell, Meade Goujon, 80-some or 70-some years old, kicked my ass every way but lose. And I was ahead of him. I beat him into Chokoloski, and he still beat me by 2 days.
Is this what it is?
So right where you are.
Right here?
There's Caribbean Club right there. That's a nice ramp.
Okay. Yeah, that's what it says. Caribbean Club. Yes, that's it. That's it. The ramp is at, and there's a dock there, and there's usually not many people on the dock. So yeah, you just go to the north side of that ramp, and you're fine. And all that parking lot on the north side, see where the ramp is. That's all. You can park in there and pull stuff around. It's great. I think it's $10.
So, are you familiar with that ramp? Because
it's a nice ramp.
Is that paved?
I think it's concrete. Yeah, and it goes down a bit.
It didn't look like it was paved to me.
Well, that's because,
There's a-
Eric, those things have so much friggin' sand on top of the concrete. That's why.
Yeah,
Oh.
right.
See, 'cause my car is this little wimpy front-wheel drive thing. That's the only problem. Okay.
Well, here's what you can do. You can bring a strap and keep your car up on the sand, and then just yank your trailer up. Because your boat doesn't weigh that much, does it?
No. Well, it
Okay.
will loaded. It'll be 800-900 pounds, maybe 1,000.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't. I don't know how it trailers, but
I see
but
what
there's
you're
not
saying.
there's not much to hit there.
No. I see what you're saying. Exactly. That's what I do. When a ramp is steep enough, I don't bury my tailpipe. But very often I have to bury my tailpipe.
Yeah, I've done that. But no, just take your main sheet and wrap it around the trailer tongue, and away you go.
Yeah,
But no, that's the best ramp in the area. And if you've got a motor, you got no problem. You know what you could do though?
What?
That's your best shot for a ramp and for getting out easily. It's nice, and it's got a big parking lot. During the week, it's usually not that many people.
Good.
All right. Where the hell did it go?
Right there, Caribbean Club.
Yeah. All right.
Right north of Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill Grill.
I'm trying to find
So
it
I've
on
got
my. I'm looking for it on my Navix here, so I'll get it nailed. Gonna plot it on the water, Eric, so we don't have any problems here.
Yeah, I sent you an email one time. I'm looking for it right now. There's 2 ramps, and I spotted them both, and I'm just hoping I can find it real quick here.
The other ramp is probably at the sailing
I know
club.
what it was. What's that?
Or the sailing club. Just the Key Largo Sailing Club. My nephew is a member of that, and it's very narrow. You wouldn't get in.
Oh,
Extremely narrow.
right?
Very tight. Yeah, but it was on a harbor. You may be looking at a different ramp. A lot of the ramps are private. They're neighborhood ramps, and they won't let you in or out anyway. But the one you picked at the Caribbean Club is an open ramp, and that's the best. That's why we don't sail the Key Largo much. When we do it,
I went in on Google Maps on that thing, and then went to Street View, and there's a big sign with a phone number, and it says $10.
Yeah.
All right.
But it's the best ramp. It's the best ramp on the north side. Now, where we sail at the Key Largo Sailing Club, we launched our catamaran and the other boats right off the beach. You just roll it in, and that's it. And then we pull it out by hand.
Okay.
But
No,
you can't do that. You can't really. You're not a member, and there's no place to park, and it's all pretty crowded. So, the Caribbean Club is the best place with a big parking lot.
All right. I found it on the chart. I got it on the chart, so we're good.
Excellent.
Okay.
Okay, buddy. Wow, that's been a marvelous experience talking to you.
Yeah.
Well, you look at all those videos, and you see those 2 Canadians. They were great sailors, and they screwed up. They stopped at all those islands. They were uncomfortable, and they thought, well, it's a sightseeing tour, and you guys want to finish. You want to get the maximum out of your boat as long as the wind is blowing, and when you're screwed, take a nap, because you're going to make stupid-ass decisions like me and Don Quixote and end up, floating upside down, sitting on the keel with your sails. Well, you won't, but we did. That was a fun experience. But there was no reason for that to happen. And you guys, you guys got a lot of experience, in your boats. You just relax and let the boat do the work.
I love
but
that.
if you get tired, stop. This is, you're not getting paid for this. And it's much easier to stop than fix your boat.
Amen.
That's right.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's everything you imagined it would be. It's everything they told you it would be, and much more. And I want to tell you, it's 300 miles or a little bit more. I knocked off 365 before I drowned my spot. And Florida Bay is 35 miles from Flamingo to Key Largo, and that's half of the race.
Yeah.
Sounds stupid. You don't believe it, ask Archangel, because he would just died out there. Florida Bay is a killer. And if you do it the way you looked at it tonight, shoot, you guys got it made.
Well,
Cool.
and we learned from Archangel not to go that way with a boat like ours.
He wasted about 4 hours trying to follow those guys that had been through there several times. Almost everybody he was with had done the Everglades Challenge on multi-hulls before, and he only missed it by about 40 minutes. If he'd have been a little bit further, he would have made that turn, and he would have been in Key Largo in 3 to 4 hours max, maybe less.
He missed the turn. He missed the tide.
No, he missed a turn. The wind shifts. The wind clocked around, and he had to go all the way back out to the Gulf. If he'd gone out to the Gulf, he would have had a 4-hour jump at, 10, 15 miles an hour? He would have been 40 miles on a 70-mile journey, and he would have been in that night. Instead, he ended up camping on his boat for another night with no wind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you think you're doing the right thing. You think you got it made, and then they give you the shaft. Florida Bay, it'll get you every time. I've lived in Miami since 1979. The only time I went across Florida Bay, the way I wanted to, with no problem, was this summer and last year in July. Nobody, and they were amazed that there was actually a sailboat out there because nobody sails out there. It's that bad. Florida Bay is a killer. And everybody I asked said, how do I get across Florida Bay in a catamaran? And they all said, you're not. But a lot of my buddies do it. If there's a wind out of the north at high tide, the guys in the Tornado, I forget his name, the guys from Chicago, the big time racers, they went from Key Largo to Flamingo and back in a catamaran in less than 12 hours. And had no problem. Wow. Chainsaw and Swamp Monkey, I think it was, Mike McGarry and the other guy. They're both diabetics too. They had to quit one year, but man, those guys are great sailors, and they really know that boat well. And they've got, those are the competitors, boy. They're up for it. Iron Bob and the Juice, they'll rip your lungs out, smile at you. They're all killers. Randy Smythe, when he's not swimming or breaking, you're not going to beat him. What's the other guy? Macho Man, and what's the other guy? I don't know. Kenny Pierce didn't sign up yet. Bumpy and Macho Man, I think. Bumpy and Macho Man. I mean, they finished in what? Under 48 hours, and it was not great conditions. They were hitting 26 miles an hour through the same course you're looking at, coming from Flamingo. And their slowest speed was 17 miles an hour. They slowed down for the pass. They got down to 17 because I was rowing from point to point. They had their spot on. Those guys were hauling.
Wow.
And one of the guys lives down there. So he's got it nailed. They've run the Key Largo, what do they call that? Steeplechase. I mean, they've done it 8 or 10 times. And if they don't break, it's just a toss-up who's going to win it. I mean, they're used to sailing those flat-bottom catamarans with their boards up, in water that, I would never think of going into my GCAT or you either. I mean, they're just digging up all those damn shellfish, and the sharks are having a field day in their wake. And a lot of times, they break. Those guys are nuts. And this year I'm going to be sailing against them. It's going to be fun to watch. Watch where they go. The guy in the tornado catamarans, because you can follow them, and they really do sail it the best. But they've also run aground. They also bid it big time and just dropped out at Chokoloskee one year because they were so beat to death. Chokoloskee is a killer, boy. I'll tell you. You get in there and you just screw it. Most people quit at Chokoloskee because it's that bad. When you get out of Chokoloskee, shoot. I mean, the Flamingo, it's just open water and go like crazy, which is great.
Yeah. Well, all good stuff, Painen. I just plotted that, Eric, from the resort up to the ramp is just 5 miles on the water. So it's about.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
That's going to be, what, 45 minutes, something like that, a little less.
Yeah, with the.
And I think they've got a big dock up there too, which is usually not used. And here's the other thing: the water is shallow there, so you can almost jump right off the boat and anchor right there too.
Okay.
Now, where's that?
But I'll check it out. Depending on whether it's high tide or low tide.
At this ramp here.
The water. There might be several shallow spots in there because that's where they launched the Hobie Adventure Islands. The next little place right south of that ramp is the South Bay outfit or Florida Bay Outfitters, and they rent Hobies, and usually they walk and paddleboard in there.
Yeah.
And there's also a little sand ramp right there too. You couldn't get in it very far because there's overhanging trees, but it's not that deep.
All right, gentlemen.
All right, there you go.
Time for dinner.
All right, Painen.
All right.
Thanks
I
so
can't
much.
believe all this stuff you've told us. Thank you so much. We'll be in touch.
You're welcome. I'll see if I can get some
Okay.
pictures. Well, you don't. No, I won't even take pictures of the ramp. Well, maybe I will, so you can see what you're going into if you have to get in there. Yeah, just to get to the dock. That'll be helpful.
Let's talk
Yeah.
again in late March or early April and get some war stories.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait a minute. What did you say?
Are you doing it this year?
Yeah, I am, but I'm doing it unofficially because Chief will shoot me if I show up on the beach.
Yeah. No, I
it
got
was.
you. So after you're done, let's follow up after that. And
Oh yeah, there'll be lots of war stories and lots of videos. It's going to be great. These guys, because everybody's buying GoPros, and some of them got 2 or 3,
yeah.
and they love to show off, and I love it because it just shows you how bad it can get. You know, these guys look like death. You should have seen Mark Zolich. I mean, death warmed over doesn't even begin to describe how shitty he looked. And Mark is a power lifter. He's a Greek god for his age. I'm 70 years old. I mean, give me a break here. And he looked like he was going to die if I blew on him.
Well, he was solo. I've done. I did that Texas 200 solo. I'm exhausted after that thing, and that's.
Oh yeah.
You know?
The Everglades challenge. It takes me 2 to 3 weeks to recuperate from. When I was in shape.
Yeah.
And in 2014, I was in the best shape in 2 decades, really. And I'm not in good shape now, which I'm just, but if you ask me, were you ever ready for the Everglades challenge, even on your best day? And the answer is no. Never.